Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. This is just a disclaimer that this is not financial advice. In no way am I a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who sits in his office and talks about cryptocurrency. And also another disclaimer that I'm not trying to be insensitive to the current issues going on in the world. I understand that we're in pretty serious times. I'm just purely speculating on the market and talking about the numbers of it all. But otherwise, my heart and prayers go out to those who are affected by the crisis. And now on to the video. How's it going, guys? I hope you are doing well today. As you can see, I've got some new surroundings. I just got moved into my new office. So I'm still working on my studio setup. I'm going to have a mic. I got my camera over there. But as of right now, I'm just wanting to make a video because it's kind of urgent. And it's regarding the state of the markets right now. Obviously, with Russia deciding to invade Ukraine, obviously things are not going too well. I mean, the market's reacting pretty badly, as you would expect. But there's a couple things I want to go over today, and it's how this will affect the NFT in the crypto market. So I'm going to go over four things. We're going to go over the Invisible Friends Mint, and then like the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which is actually pulling liquid out of the market. We're going to be going over the Magic Eden hack. I was seeing a lot of stuff about that on Twitter yesterday. We're going to talk about a $32,000 Bitcoin, which is a possibility if things continue to get worse. And then lastly, we're actually going to talk about something called the War Puzzle, something I've been seeing a lot lately, especially on Graham Stephan's channel. So we're going to be talking about that and the possibility of that happening with more volatile assets like crypto, which obviously we haven't seen because it hasn't been around that long. And we haven't gone through a full-scale conflict with crypto markets. So first of all, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at the Bitcoin chart, which I've got right here. Obviously, I'm no whiz kid. This is not financial advice. I'm just saying what I see. If we go ahead and look at the 7-day, we dropped from 40K all the way down to, looks like we tested a low of like $34,000, 34K Bitcoin. To be honest, I think it could get a little bit lower, especially considering this conflict just broke out. So if it continues to get worse, right now we're sitting at about 36K almost, but I think we could really test 32K and worst case scenario 29K, but I'm willing to place my bet at 32K Bitcoin if things get progressively worse. If we look at the year to date, we are obviously down from when we started the year. This year has been it's been something for the crypto markets, and honestly, it could possibly get worse. Obviously, we know March historically is not a very good month for cryptocurrency assets. It's like September for the stock market. There's just that 1 month in the year that things just don't do well. I mean, obviously, long term, I'm still bullish on cryptocurrency. I'm still bullish on NFTs. But short term, we're definitely seeing some bearish signals. I mean, a lot of people are pulling out of the markets, pulling liquid. I mean, let me pull up Ethereum here. We've seen the price of Ethereum drop from, I think it was almost 3,000 a couple days ago, and we've seen it drop to 2,400, which is the lowest I've seen it since I've even gotten into NFTs. So, yeah, we've seen that drop from 2,700. This is just in 1 day as well. So we are at 2,700. We've seen a $300 drop, about a 10% drop. So yeah, we've seen a lot of, I mean, obviously still bullish on Ethereum long term. We've seen a lot of liquid been pulled out of that. So we're going to go ahead and also talk about the Invisible Friends Mint, which obviously for those of you who were able to mint, it was very lucrative for you. I saw some people bought at 13, 15 ETH. I mean, they're already down big time, but for anybody who was minting, definitely made insane life-changing money. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Invisible Friends act. So right now, we can see Invisible Friends sitting at a 9.2 ETH floor, which, I mean, it tested, I think it hit 10 ETH not too long ago. I mean, it's been kind of up and down. I know we saw a low of 7 to 8 ETH. But right now we're sitting at 9.2. Obviously, on top of the conflict with Ukraine, this mint definitely pulled some liquid out of the market. So in terms of NFTs and stuff like that, it is extremely slow right now. Not a lot of ETH going around projects, but it is a great time to get some projects that you're bullish on at a discounted price, especially if those are long-term holds. I mean, it's a great time to buy into some awesome projects, especially with stuff like Invisible Friends and the conflict pulling liquid out of the markets. So next we're going to be covering the Magic Eden hack, which at first was thought to be a hack, but it turned out that because of the conflict, so many people were listing and pulling liquid out of that market as well. So it's not just ETH, but we've seen the same thing with Solana and Solana NFTs. I mean, granted, things have pretty much recovered decently. I mean, the market's like back to normal, but so much was being pulled out that it was being thought of as a hack. So that was definitely extremely interesting, especially to see how the conflict affected that. Not really much to say there. Obviously, kind of bullish on Solana NFTs, especially if they continue to do what they do. Right now, it's a lot of art-based stuff, but there's some really awesome projects like Desolates, Danger Valley Ducks that are doing some great things over there. So next, we're going to be talking about the war puzzle. I already kind of talked about 32K Bitcoin, like I said. I think we could see a test of 32K. At the very, very worst, 29K, but I don't think it'll go any lower than that. Honestly, I don't think it'll go lower than 30K. I'm willing to set my mark at 32K Bitcoin. Next, we're going to be talking about the war puzzle. So the war puzzle is actually something really interesting, and it shows that markets often react worse to rumors of war than they do to the actual conflict itself. Obviously, war brings uncertainty, and that's what causes markets to pull back. But I mean, historically, we've seen that while they'll pull back for a specific period of time, markets actually end up doing better during the war than they do before it, which is definitely something to look at. Now, obviously, crypto is a new asset. It's extremely volatile, especially NFTs, even more volatile. So we're talking about some crazy markets over here, and we don't know how they'll react. But I personally am willing to bet that we're going to see that 32K Bitcoin test, and then not a bull run, but we might see a little bit of a recovery there, up to maybe 38, 40K once, depending on how the conflict goes. Because obviously, if things continue to get worse, I mean, people are going to continue to pull liquid out of the markets, especially if other countries get involved and it becomes a full-fledged world war, which hopefully that's not going to be the case. But we actually take a look at this chart right here. I mean, granted, this is with stocks, not cryptocurrency assets. This is the first time we're going through anything like this with cryptocurrency of this scale. Obviously, there have been some conflicts, but if we go ahead and look at this, I mean, it shows the event dates and stuff like that. It shows you the one-day drawback. So we have an average of 1.2%, and we usually bottom out at around 22 days. It takes about an average of 22 days to bottom out. And then after that, it takes an average of 47 days for the market to recover. Now, obviously, these are averages. Each situation is different, but we might be able to expect something like that for the crypto market. Granted, this is a much larger scale, and like I said, crypto market's extremely volatile. I mean, we can see 50 to 70% drawbacks just like out of nowhere. I mean, we could even drop further from now, but I'm wanting to see if we're going to see this same type of recovery with cryptocurrency than if we do also with the stock markets and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this chart. It says right here, from the start of World War II in 1939 until it ended in late 1945, the Dow was up 50%, more than 7% per year. So during two of the worst wars in modern history, the U.S. stock market was up a combined 115%. So obviously, these conflicts aren't the be-all, end-all for markets and stuff like that. And I definitely don't think it's the be-all, end-all for cryptocurrency. Obviously, still extremely bullish long-term, especially with mass adoption and stuff like that, and making it more accessible to newcomers. So here we can see some capital market performance during times of war. So here it says, Mark Armbruster, the president of Armbruster Capital Management, studied the period from 1926 through July 2013. and found that stock market volatility was actually lower during periods of war, which is interesting because you'd expect it to be more volatile, especially with the uncertainty of events. But I think it's the uncertainty leading up to the event that actually causes more volatility. As you can see here, I mean, you're free to study this chart for yourself. Just gives the difference between, risk to return ratios, long-term credit, inflation, and stuff like that. So we can actually see the percentages are pretty freaking close, especially for large cap stocks, which that's to be expected. Smaller cap stocks, I mean, obviously those are going to be a lot more volatile. It's like altcoins, the stock market. But I mean, they're still decently close together. Obviously, we're going to see that more return and risk ratio with larger cap stocks, larger companies. So that's that chart there. It says the bottom line over here. Over the last few years, markets have been conditioned not to overreact to political and geopolitical shocks for two reasons. First, the belief that there would be no significant subsequent intensification of the initial shock. And second, that central banks stood ready and able to repress financial volatility. So, granted, this is different for cryptocurrency because it's a decentralized asset. So we don't know how it's going to react to something like this. I mean, we're already kind of seeing, but this is just the beginning. So only time will tell how it's going to react. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I've got for today's video. I should have my setup going here soon. So we should have a good idea of whether or not. That's all for the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. That's pretty much all I've got to say regarding the crypto market and the stock market and NFTs and stuff like that. Obviously, like I said, finishing closing arguments, bullish long term. Right now, we're seeing a little bit of bearish signals because we don't know how it's going to react, especially if this conflict continues to rise and other countries get involved. But that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. If you like the video, be sure to subscribe and you'll get more videos like this. I'm going to be making some more NFT videos and stuff like that here soon. I got my setup going, just waiting on my microphone, but this one was definitely urgent and I felt the need to make it. So if you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And without further ado, that's all I have for today. Thanks, folks.